Draymond, what did you see and feel happened in that third quarter that was so different, obviously, than what happened the first half?
I think we just played with more force on both sides of the ball. We moved the ball offensively, got downhill, and you're getting kickouts, which allows for offensive rebound opportunities. So just play with a lot more force second half.
Draymond, do you take any moral victory from the game?
No. Nope.
When you study the league and you obviously know how good teams are, how good is that team over there?
They're a really good team. That's why they are champions with an opportunity to repeat, and they sit here at 21-1. Great team. But there ain't no moral victories.
They're what?
We're still 11-11, so we didn't get a win.
Draymond, we were talking about it last week. Obviously, everything changes without Steph. If you're missing Steph and Jimmy on this trip, what do you feel like you guys have to focus on or tighten up the most?
Got to be great defensively because you're missing a lot of points and gravity on the offensive end. Can't turn the ball over. We got to play with high energy and get a lot of offensive rebounds. Create second chance points, limit transition opportunities.
Played most of the second half with 5 fouls. How does your approach change when you're in foul trouble like that?
Just not to foul, but I'm still going to cover all that I can. But just do it with clean hands and not put the referees in a position to take it, do what they do.
How would you quantify Pat Spencer's growth during his time with the program here?
He's continued to get better and better. Pat just has a bravado about him, though. A sense of pride that he plays with every night, every time he steps on the floor. But his skill level has gone up. His mid-range, shooting. I think he's just got more and more confident. When he's out there, he looks to take control and get guys in position. And that's, it puts us in a good position. He was great tonight.
We all know what Seth Curry can do. What is it? He hasn't practiced much. He hadn't played at all this season. And to come in and just fire up the shots he'd put, in obviously limited action, but important minutes out there.
Very important. Just to add that level of shooting. We know what he's led the league in three-point percentage multiple times. And at one point, I know he was the career leader. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but I know he was for quite a while. So just to have, to be able to add Steph and, him come out and get going the way he did tonight, was great for us. But, the one thing we know he can do and we expect him to do is shoot the ball. So it's on us to make sure we're getting him looks.
After you guys made that comeback, OKC made like an 18-5 run to close the game. What sort of happened in that stretch to?
We missed a couple shots. I think we turned a couple over, but we gave up a few threes in that run. We gave up the open one to Isaiah Joe, and that was my fault. I called the double team on Shea to get the ball out of Shea's hand, and it was so random. That I don't think the guys were ready for the proper rotation. So, if I'm going to call that there for the double team, for guys to go double, and I see the guys and I make that last rotation, I need to make all effort that I can to go from that other block and get there, at least try to get a contest. So I think that one was the killer more than anything.
Draymond, what did you learn about this group in that second half? You didn't have Jimmy, you didn't have Steph, and so many different guys contributed in different ways and made quite a game out of it.
I didn't learn much, but I hope our guys learned that if, we play hard, can compete with anybody. Whether Jimmy's out there or Steph out there or not, it's going to be much tougher. Margin for error is a lot less. But, you give yourself a chance and that's all you can ask for. So I hope that's what we collectively learned.
Draymond, your family is about to grow. What is it like going on the road knowing something like really big and important is on the horizon?
Sucks. Pretty if I'm honest. But nonetheless, this is my job. I love to do my job. So, but it's terrible, if I'm honest. It's not the first time I've been in this position, though. But my wife does a great job. She's strong. I'll do all I can to get back here if I need to. But it's been tough. Just with our schedule, we've been gone so much. So I haven't seen my family much over the last month, really. So try to cherish the moments we do get. But yeah, it's fun. They keep me on my toes. Yeah, that's a late one too. But that's why they were here so late, because about to be gone again, and then it's just so much going on. So I was happy they was here.
Hello, Draymond. Talk about your kids. What do you want to show your kids tonight, especially the game, compete the championship team?
Just try to show them what I always do, that you must work hard. That's a non-negotiable. If you're competing, you got to compete at the highest level. And no matter what, you always do what you got to do to try to win, and whatever it is in life that you're doing.
Dre, OKC 21-1. I mean, you talked about how much you respect them. I know it might be a little early for this, but the chatter's going to start about can they get to where you guys were a few years back, and you know what great teams look like. Could you see them getting to that level?
It's hard, man, but I do think they're capable. You just need so many things to go right, though. Health, which they kind of plow right through health. It really don't matter, it seems. You need a lot of breaks, though, to go your way. But they're on the right track. And like I said, they're more than capable. I think 73 wins took some years off my life. It's hard. But like I said, they're capable of a lot.
How cool is it having your kid down there on the bench tonight? Does that change anything for you? Or just, it seemed like you did a great job getting you guys towels and all that during the game.
Yeah, it's cool. If anything, it makes me shut my mouth on the bench if I was going to say something. It keeps me in check. I know he's watching. But it was cool. He came up to me after the game like, can you introduce me to Chet Holmgren? So I went and introduced him to Chet. Chet was nice. I really appreciate that. But, like I said, anytime you give them those experiences that, quite honestly, money can't buy, I'm always forever grateful.
We've been talking about when DeAnthony is back, that will change things. You don't want to overstate it, but...
No, don't put that pressure on him. We got to play better.
But, okay, what does DeAnthony Melton change about things when he's back?
I think, we know he shoots the ball at a very high clip. He's a really good defender. He's a great secondary ball handler for us, in his time with us. But like I said, I don't want to put a bunch of pressure on him. I think, I've never said this, but I think Dennis Schroeder was probably put in one of the worst positions a player can be put in. It's not that Dennis Schroeder couldn't work here. But we were so desperate that it was almost like everyone expected him to come in and be the savior. So he never got a fair shot. And in turn, then he got traded, and the rest is history. But here in San Francisco, we never truly got to see the player that Dennis Schroeder really is, because there was just so much thrown at him that, if I'm honest, it wasn't quite right, but it's just what it was. And it wasn't like it was one person saying, hey, it was everybody. There's a standard here to win. And when you're not doing that, everybody's looking for that next thing to make that happen, And so I said all of that to say I don't want to see that happen to Melton, where, the guy's coming back off an ACL injury. That takes time. Even once he get back out there, you got to get a rhythm. You got to get unafraid. Like, there's just so much that has to go on in that process of returning back to the player that you are, that I don't want to see him get thrown in this fire of like, oh, man, he got to save the day and it's on him. Like, no, that's unfair to him. And his salary doesn't say that he should be the guy that does that. What he should be is the guy that comes and contributes in the way that he can. And we have to be patient with that. And all of us around him got to do what we have to do in order to help this team win so that that type of pressure isn't on him.